This Ember shader, inspired by the video game Silksong, is my most satisfying shader so far. But before we take a look at it along with my last animated project, I want to thank all 245 of you who subscribed. Ow, 245 of you guys want to see my next work, which is... It's funny because my goal was to hit 10 subscribers by the end of the year. Face reveal! Almost 500,000 views on my Rampage Rally short I released 2 weeks ago. That's a number I never imagined seeing anytime soon. Now back to work. 2 weeks ago, I decided to start a series of short animation called What If I believe this is going to help me push myself to practice my art. With that said, I don't expect all of my renders to be great or as polished as my Rampage Rally submission, since I had 1 month to work on that one and I'm back to school. So time is definitely not something I can cherish right now. But I only have 1 year left. Okay, let's go over my challenges of doing the animation What If I Wielded the Hornet's Needle from the video game Silksong. I've only played 1 hour of Silksong so far, so with my minimal knowledge of the game, I tried my best to keep the mechanism of the game authentic. Now, if you haven't seen my animation, make sure to check it out first and then come back to this video. The beginning is pretty simple. The needle is a 3D model, which isn't complex in itself, and the 2D effects were hand-drawn using grease pencil from Blender. But then for my character to enter, I had to animate a walk cycle. It's far from looking natural, but keep in mind that is my first time animating a walk cycle, as well as most other motions in this animation, and I never had a class on animating. Now over here, yes, as he holds the needle in front of him, there's flickers, and honestly, I don't know why. I only noticed this towards the end of my project, and when I did, I was already rushing, so I didn't take the time to look into it. And here is the money shot. This was an accident. When scripting the story, I didn't have this shot in mind, but as I created it, that's when I saw the magic in it. The true key element that brings this shot to life is the embers effect, as well as the colors. I think the colors look nice, and the contrast. I love silhouette shots. I'm so proud of this effect because it's so easy to use and it gives so much richness to the shot. I got inspired by the foreground effect in Hollow Knight Silksong with the blurry particles that float by, like the leaves, the dust, or the embers. For a warm environment like mine, embers fit perfectly. All it is a plane with 3 layers of animated procedural textures. 1 layer is the small embers, 1 is the medium embers, and 1 the big Giga Chad embers. You desynchronize these layers to give depth, you waste a lot of time getting the colors right because the embers are going to be blurry in the shot anyway, and boom! Group this, save this, and use this. Yeah! Leave a comment if you would like me to share this shader and I'll plug it in my next breakdown video. For the background, as this wasn't the main focus of my story, I just painted a flat background and a few models. Okay, one thing I realized while doing this project is that I did not expect for fingers to be this complicated to animate. I mean, look at this. What the hell? I'll definitely need a course just for that. The issue is, when you set keyframes for different hand poses, the finger transitions from one pose to the other in the shortest path possible. For example, when unfolding your fingers, the tip of your finger naturally does an arc. But in 3D, it does not care if you have bones in the way. In real life, your joints move out the way for the tip of the finger to go over. Not in 3D. You need to tell them how to move between those keyframes so that it moves into an arch motion. Individually. All 10 fingers. Lots of problem gets added to such a simple thing, which I am not down to go deeper into today. Luckily, there are workarounds to help save time during this process, like poses and rigs, but just to help. For the background of this shot, I didn't know what to put, so I just used my lovely shader again in more defined resolution. Here we can clearly see a lack of budget with the lack of colored pixel. These were hand painted using Procreate. This rope was hand drawn using grease pencil. Here's another of my favorite reusable shader, the speed lines, and the ending. Due to the lack of budget, we had to go 2D. No, actually, I just wanted to have fun by recreating the Silksong look with painted layers like the silhouette element in the foreground, as well as 2 more layers in the background, giving that parallax effect. Did you notice? Did you notice the embers? Here, I should have worked on a more visible expression of his energy depleting, thus being the reason why he can't use his needle to grapple anymore. But all I did, like really quickly, like because I did this in class, is draw the energy bar at different levels of emptiness and switch a JPEG every time he grapples. Now, if you haven't understood the story, if I had my own hornet's needle, gosh. I would toss a coin in the sky, needle the shit, and do that again like a Spooderman. It's not too deep of a story. I'll try to be more creative next time. Speaking of creativity, I think it's funny how a lot of people say that AI doesn't create and it's just regurgitate, like, it mixes stuff. That's probably true. And to be clear, I didn't use any AI for this project or any of my projects. But let me ask you this. And I want you guys to share your opinions in the comments. Don't we most of the time just recreate stuff like AI does? Don't we regurgitate stories that are inspired by other stories? As we get older, we develop preferences. We grow our library of references through school, through books, movies, games, art, through anything. Just like AIs. Then once we start creating, our minds craft things based on our library of references. Want to create a robot in CGI? It's probably gonna look like metal. Want to build a modern car? It's probably gonna look like it has a face. Want to make a new Assassin's Creed game? It's probably gonna be shit. It's very hard to create something new. You might be able to explain every new technology as just a forward iteration of a previous invention. I don't even know if Apple knows the term forward. Kids. Kids are the ones most able to create something new since their mind is fresh. It hasn't been influenced by references as much. But even they quickly start recreating things they see. I hope I'm not giving any ideas to a company that wants to start pumping kids every 2 minutes just to exploit their blank brain. If you made it this far, comment bamboozle. I would honestly love to know. And lastly, last Thursday at 7:40 a.m. while swimming during my practice, I've decided to quit the sport for good. This means I won't swim for my team anymore. This means I might have more time for animations. So if you want to see more little projects like this or follow my progression, subscribe.